My name is Chris Nelson. At the time I was in the Navy, was from Key West, Florida. Served in the U.S. Navy from 1965 through 69. I wound up being a radioman, was a radioman second, and served in the Philippines, surprisingly shore duty right away, for a year and a half, and then came back to the States for a while, and then got sent to a ship off Vietnam. We were up and down the coast through 69, participated in several landings and operations. It's not exactly like portrayed in the movies. That was one of the big differences like that. It's the long periods of boredom and short periods of flashes of terror from now and then. So one of the more interesting things was when the USS Forrestal caught fire. There was explosions on the deck, and all the rockets and bombs and ammunition went off, and it killed a lot of the damage control people. So people were just grabbing hoses and things. They were pouring water on the fires, but they neglected to realize that you have to go through procedures that divert the water over the side of the ship, and a lot of it went to the interior and flooded the radio room, and most of the equipment was down. And since I was on shore, I wound up being the only person to be able to contact the carrier for a vast number of hours, simply because the people who were there with me in the station, it was monsoon season, and we'd been on watch for 12 hours, and then they left the base, and the monsoon washed out the road, and they couldn't get back. So it was me and one other guy, and we were there for about 30 hours straight. The Pueblo, when it was captured, they ran around and tried to give the radioman on board time to destroy equipment and some of the papers. And there was an order that was sent in, because I passed the order, to take out the enemy ships or take out the Pueblo itself. And then a follow-up order came from, no, we'll let state handle it and not the military. So then they went ahead and the ship got captured, and took some time to get the guys back. But that was just be on the periphery, on the side, just kind of reading those top secret messages as they go by. And it still is the only captured ship that is still active on the Navy roster. Over 3 years of my 4 years, I was overseas. And it's lonely. You miss the little things. One of the things I missed after a year and a half in the Philippines was milk. They only had powdered milk over there. And when we left to come back to the States, we took transport up to Clark Air Force Base to fly back. And of course, some guys, they immediately ran to a bar, and I'm like, nope. So we went over to the club, a couple of us, and had steaks, and we had pitchers of milk. And one of the main things you learn is if you say you're gonna do something, you do it. Just how do you get along with people? So then when you get out and you're in companies and working with other people, what's the best way you can work with people? We really believed in the country in those days. Here we were fighting a war with thousands of deaths, and yet we also put a man on the moon. And the day that we landed on the moon, we pulled into Hong Kong for R&R. And as we're wandering the streets, several times British people, English people there would come up to us and shake our hands and say, "Splendid things you Americans have done." And everybody likes to be appreciated some, but when you're shot at from time to time, it's appreciated even more.